You know, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things I love, other than being proven wrong and being educated and shown different things, is being proven right, ladies and gentlemen. And we have a video that is going viral on Twitter right now that proves that all of these MCU writers who we've been saying for time and time again are not fans of the original source material. They do not actually read the comic books or own the comic books. We've been saying this for a while, and they always came out in interviews and lied about how they're big fans of the work, etc., etc. Now we have proof that every single one of them have been lying.
Liar!
So we have an article here from Fandom Pulse with a headline that reads, "A viral video shows and proves MCU writers don't read or like the comic books and focus solely on self-insert stories." Now, I know this headline seems very dramatic, but no, when you watch the video, you're going to realize that this is actually the truth. So let's get into this article, guys, from Fandom Pulse. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Like the video to push us out into the YouTube algorithm. We're almost at 30K subs, guys. Let's do our best to try to get there as soon as we can. Now, let's read what this says, and the video's right here. We're going to go into it. It says a video posted to X is going viral for fans, or rather, former fans of the MCU. In it, various writers, actors, and showrunners are seen admitting that they have never read a comic book, never did any research, and blatantly admit that they've never been fans of the comic books. And again, in recent interviews, guys, you'll realize that that's been one of their talking points, right? Initially, they were saying that they weren't fans, right? They were saying that they didn't read the source material, that they were told not to read the source material. Then eventually, over time, they realized that people on YouTube were using that as ammo against them. So they started changing it up. And if you look at recent interviews, all of them talk about their favorite comic book, right? Or whatever they're fans of, right? Their narrative changed. But the funny thing is, they don't realize that the internet's forever. You can go back and catch them saying all kinds of shit and compile it together, like in this video, and prove that they're liars. So let's play this video in its entirety. It's 45 seconds. Let's play it, and then I'll give you my take on it. Let's go. Now, this video is so telling, it's not even funny. And if you look at the side over here, you're going to see all the projects that they worked on, and it's all MCU projects that have been completely garbage, right? So you have Jack Schaefer, or Jay Schaefer, whatever the hell her name is, a writer on Black Widow. Not surprising there. You have Eric Pearson, again, writer on Black Widow. Not very shocking. Mackenzie Dorr, writer on WandaVision. Not very shocking. Dave Callahan, writer on Shang-Chi. Also not very shocking, even though for me personally, I'm going to be honest, as I have been for a long time now, I actually kind of like Shang-Chi. But then again, I have a very strong bias against Asian-style films like that are fighting film. I just do. Whether it has a shitty story or not, I just do. I'm admitting my bias, okay? Leave me alone. Dave Callahan, Shang-Chi. Kaz Firpo, who this guy... when he's talking about comics, you can clearly see he just doesn't give a shit. And he's a writer on The Eternals, one of the worst movies ever for the MCU. And good old famous Jessica Chow, Jabba the Hutt herself, was a writer on She-Hulk. And you know how that went down. They used the fans as the enemy for their story. That's how terrible of a writer they are. They couldn't figure out a good story to tell with one of the most famous characters in Marvel Comics, She-Hulk. So instead, they decided to make the fans the enemy and Doomcock the enemy. That's how fucking terrible they are. Ali Salim, director on Secret Invasion, one of the biggest flops financially by far for Marvel's MCU shows. Then you got Malcolm Spellman, a writer on Falcon and the Winter Soldier, etc., etc., etc. You guys get the idea. Amy Rodden, writer on Echo. Marion Dare, writer on Echo. And they admitted that they changed the entire source material to basically tell whatever story they were trying to push. These women have admitted that. So it goes to show they don't give a shit about the source material. We say this all the time. They don't care. They never actually were interested into it to begin with. They're not hiring people who are fans of the original work, because if they did, those fans of the original work would be questioning a lot of the stuff that they were told to do when they came out with these shows and these movies. Marvel as a whole, as an entity, they're the ones that are in charge of changing up the story for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And they tell their little directors, do this, do that, take the story here or whatever, and then use a little bit of creative freedom, but make sure you have these check boxes in there. Most fans would not want to deal with that nonsense. Most fans would be like, what the hell are we even doing here? So again, it doesn't shock me at all that we now have finally a video compilation of admission from all of these writers and directors saying what we've been saying for such a long time. It says accusations of this have been going around for quite some time, but it was only a little more than a year ago that Nate Moore came out essentially confirming this. As a producer for several MCU films, he stated that being a fan of the comics is a red flag, and that he doesn't hire people with an understanding of the characters. I did a video of that a year ago when Nate Moore said that. I remember that particular video. So again, I've been talking about this for quite a while now, and I'm finally happy to see all these admissions come out. Jessica Gao, who also appears in the video, has previously claimed to have been a fan of the She-Hulk comics. I remember that. I remember her saying that. So they don't even remember the lies that they tell. You know what I mean? Like when you're lying about being a fan of something, it's pretty easy to catch that lie at some point in time, right? You ask a certain question, you look at their history, you'll realize that they're not saying the same things over and over and over again, so they're not actually fans of that work, and they're just kind of making it up as they go along. So it's pretty funny that she said she was a fan of the comics before, and now we have a video basically her admitting that she never read comics in the first place. This was at a time when Marvel was still intent on promoting their limited series of She-Hulk to fans of the character. It appears that when it comes to promoting the shows and films, the same people who admit to not being fans of comic books pretend, or rather lie, in an attempt to keep fans of the characters interested. This blatant disregard for the comic books and the MCU's continuity seems to be catching up with Disney and Marvel Studios after they've seen repeated financial failures. The Marvels only managed to bring in $261 million worldwide at the box office against a budget of roughly $270 million. And that budget doesn't even factor in how much money went into promoting the film, which has earned the title of the lowest grossing MCU film to date. It also doesn't factor in the fact that they don't get the entire $206 million. They get about half of that. So then that's when it gets really bad, the numbers. The constant failures of the Marvels, the Eternals, She-Hulk, and others seem to be the reason why 2024 is only seeing one movie release, Deadpool 3, as other planned projects are being pushed back for extensive reshoots, which is going to cost a ton of money, mind you. It's going to cost an insane amount of money to reshoot all these films. However, it's almost hard to blame Marvel Studios for taking this approach, as Valerie D'Orazio revealed that this has been a standard practice at Marvel Comics for over a decade. When she was hired, she was essentially told that she didn't need to understand the character, the comics, or the continuity, and instead just focus on doing a self-insert. Oh, that sounds like a beautiful thing. An absolute beautiful thing. Imagine being an activist writer and finding a job at Marvel Comics and being told that, hey, you don't need to know the source material. You don't even need to know a character's name. All you need to do is just write yourself into the book. That's amazing. When an MCU shill attempted to accuse Valerie of foaming outrage for attention, Valerie dropped one of her emails with editor Axel Alonso, encouraging her to keep going with the self-insert story, but that she should also want to be fucked and killed by the Punisher. What? I gotta read this. What? But of course, the real reason Butterfly is writing the book will reveal itself over the course of the story. She wants to die, and the Punisher is her ticket. See, Butterfly has stolen chapter 13 of her book, the section where she writes about the Punisher, the one time she saw him up close, blah, blah, blah. What the fuck? That's insane, man. I can't what? Oh, and something inside Butterfly crossed over. She wanted to kiss him, fuck him, kill him, be killed by him. She knew he was the remedy for her. Wow, man. I don't even know what to say about these writers anymore. I'm so glad that everything is out in the light, and you should not believe a single word, even though I know most of you guys didn't, but there's still people out there that do. You should not believe a single word that these writers from Marvel tell you, these directors, these showrunners. All of them are lying just to try to convince you that their TV shows and movies are being made by people who care about the source material, because they know you care. That's the problem. They know you care about the source material, so they want to make sure they try to adhere to that as much as possible, because blatantly ignoring the source material and openly shitting on it in public didn't work out so well for them. So now they're trying to go the other way around in the hopes to trick you into coming back to Marvel and the MCU. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know your thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.